Knoxville Raceway. They're lean, they're mean.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our weekly race chat.
Adam Ross and Clinton Jeffrey are live and interactive every Tuesday night. Rivals Race Chat is your home for race discussion, debate, news, interviews, and more. They'll even take your questions and comments live on the air and talk to some of the newsmakers each week. Tune in every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on GeForce TV.
For Lucy Olsen, she has her first point. Yeah, Lucy Olsen, talented sophomore.
jump out.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Texas Motor Speedway here in Fort Worth. We get set to go for the next round of Coast to Coast Racing League Next Gen competition here in Fort Worth. Glad you could join us, ladies and gentlemen. Marty Cicala with you here, and we get set for a fun one. I legit got the call last second to come in and do the Next Gen race, and now I'm here. So, and it's hot. So, well, probably out there, not in my setup. So, but as we get things all set to go here, qualifying just around the corner, let's talk about the Next Gen Series so far. If you have joined us, missed us throughout the season, Bob Light and Cody Graham are your winners. But let me tell you something, this Next Gen Series 2 races in has been very, and I mean very, competitive. Terry Landis with the points lead, and actually Landis and Light are tied for the points lead at the moment. 1 point behind them is Roland Olson, who is third in points. 13 points back is Joe Canellis fourth, and 15 back is Jeremy Tate fifth. Yes, it's 2 races in, but this is still a fun points battle at the moment. From the sounds of it, too, it's been very competitive here so far on the year. But we are just moments away from beginning our qualifying session here at No Limits Texas Motor Speedway, the current version of Texas, not the legacy version. Let's break down the format here for tonight's race. 75 laps. There is a window, a fuel window of just about 32, 33 laps or so. So drivers will have to pit twice in this race. We take a look at some of the drivers out here on the racetrack. Here is the driver of the number 1. That's Joe Canellis. As he gets set to go onto the racetrack, as he gets set to go for his race action here this evening. Bear with us here, ladies and gentlemen. Having some technical difficulties as things stand. They should be fixed, and we should be good to go for racing. And yes, that is the case. Qualifying is underway. First driver we'll watch on the racetrack, Jim Bowie in car number 058. 2 laps all the drivers have here for qualifying. And drivers have 5 minutes to put 2 laps up on the board. Bowie, race number 3 for him on the season. Actually, check that. This is actually his first race with us this year on the fall season. Not a playoff driver on the Next Gen Trail side of things. So see, he decides to work the middle groove off of turn number 4. About to see Jake Musso, who was quickest on Sector 1. Jim Bowie looked to be quickest on Sector 2. Polp currently the 61 of the Moose. Musso with a 30.16. So nice lap time for him. Musso, again, that Moose clan, they love to race asphalt here on the Coast to Coast Racing League. Bob Light now moves up to the top of the chart. See if Musso can improve here at the line. Isaac Salas looking quick as he puts lap number 2 up. Is Salas the quickest? He's second quick, 29.98. Musso to the top, the 29.86. Let's watch Bob Light's lap here And the Slide Job Racing Network Aspire Sim Racing number 77. Down to 5th quick on the charts, but he's quickest of everyone. In Sector 1 as he comes to the line, it's green for Sector 2. Does he go to the top? Second quick at 29.9, 400ths off of Jake Musso's pace. Colin Johnston in car number 13 on the racetrack in the playoff situation. And as the points have reset, Johnston took the wall off turn 4, and so that lap time is invalidated. Approaching 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Here's Cody Graham in the 2. 3 wins on the Next Gen Trail this season. And about a 26-point advantage above the cut line. Graham as well in car number 2. 1 win for him on the year. Obviously, we're in week 3 on the year. Took that one at Bristol Motor Speedway last week. Taking a ride on board with him. A fun track for sure here. With the Cup cars, of course, this is a track as well where downshifting can be pretty key. So as Cody Graham comes to the line to put lap 1 on the board, he is 8th quick at 30.2. Likely will be the final driver to qualify. And then that'll do things here. Everyone else will start from the back of the field via iRacing. With 16 drivers making up the car count here tonight. Graham across the line, a better lap for him. Goes to 4th at 29.96. But it's Jacob Musso in the number 61 that starts on pole for tonight's 75-lap race. So we are just about ready to go racing here in the Lone Star State. And looking forward to a good night of racing. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. We'll give you a shout out live and on the air. We had to move to our backup stream, which is Slide Job Racing Network. We're having technical difficulties with the C2CRL regular feed. And so because of that, we have swapped over to our second stream, which I think has pretty much become the primary stream for this evening. Well, I think we are just about ready to go here. Let's meet the field and give you your starting lineup. The starting lineup is always brought to you by Catalytic Recovery. On the pole, Jacob Musso. He's in the number 61. Next to him, it's Bob Light in car number 77. Row number 2, Eddie Musso Jr. in the 62. Next to Cody Graham in the 2. Row 3, Isaac Salas, Slide Job, is in the number 5. Next to the Moose, Joe Musso in the 63. Row 4, the Ayla Outlaw, Preston Cranmer in the 07. Next to the 85, that car driven by Jake Butcher. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Tim Chapman in the 37. Next to Mark Gilbert in the 017. Row number 6, Hollywood, Roland Olson in the 003. And Jim Bowie in the 058. Row number 7, John Krupa, the Laker in the number 5, and Colin Johnston in the 13. Rounding out the field, it's Joe Dirk Canellis in car number 1. Next to the Desert Team and your points leader, Terry Landis in the 161. Field rolls off the grid. We are moments away from green flag action here at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, 75 laps in round 3 of the season. If you're a playoff driver and you win, you automatically move on to the round of 8. Will we see our third different winner of the fall? We're about to find out again. Cody Graham and Bob Light, the 2 prior winners this season. Light starts from the 2nd spot. Graham starts from 4th. And we are all set to go for the Lucy Olsen start. As we say, where else would you rather be than right here, than right now? From coast to coast, a battle in the Lone Star State. Everything's bigger at Texas, and it's showtime! Musso immediately clears. Oh, trouble with the back! That is Jim Bowie involved in the old 58. I believe, nope, check that. That's Butcher in the 85 as we immediately go to caution early. That's a tough break for Butcher here. So we don't even make it half a lap and we have calamity. Butcher got loose off turn number 2 and right in front of the 17 of Mark Gilbert. Bowie had to jam on the brakes to try and miss it and did a good job to avoid it. Just watching real time. On board. You know, turn 1 here at Texas, that can be a very treacherous corner as there is pretty much no grip whatsoever. And again, 2 completely different corners, such as on the banking and stuff like that. See how long it'll be before we go back to the green flag. Could go 1 lap to green this time by. We did have the quickest lap set by Joe Canellis, a blistering 1 minute .42 second lap time. Been a fun week of action here in Coast to Coast Racing League competition. And while we are waiting to go back to the green flag, let's give you your schedule for what is coming up next week here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. You look from our Chapman Racing drone. Sunday night is Extreme eSpeed TV Sunday Night Showdown. It's featuring midgets at Fairbury and Pro Late Models at Lernerville. That begins at 7:30 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry, that was last week. That was last Sunday. Sunday night is midgets at I-55, the Pro Late Models at Kern County. That all begins at 7:30 p.m. Monday Night Madness is at Weedsport for our sprint cars. That begins at 8 o'clock. Asphalt Tuesday Truck Trail at Talladega. That race begins at 9 o'clock. Wednesday at the Hometown Heroes Sprint Cars at Kern County and the Xfinity Trail at Talladega. Thursday night for Gambler Motorsports, Thursday Night Thunder. We've got small blocks and big blocks at Knoxville, followed by the next gens at Talladega. That's coming up next week right here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. So as we are set for this restart, Jake Musso and Bob Light, row number 1, Eddie Musso Jr., Isaac Salas with that Kyle Larson paint scheme. I love it for the Indy 500, row 2. Cody Graham, Joe Musso, row 3. Preston Cranmer, Tim Chapman, row 4. Roland Olson, and Jim Bowie round out the top 10 as we're set to come back to the green flag. 4 laps up on the board, this time by. Mission 22 restart as we come back to the green flag. Musso holds serve. Let's see what Eddie Musso Jr. can do in that number 62. I think he got on the apron just briefly, had to hang on to it. Salas with a nice run the outside off turn number 2 for the second position. And we learned for that high side on Sunday in the Cup race, that's the place to be on restarts. Bubba Wallace chose the outside pretty well. And Salas is making it work off turn 4. A little bit too tight on corner exit. That helps out the 77 hang on to P2. Eddie Musso Jr. trying to rebound after that restart. Now this is where we likely see the low line start to kick in just a bit. Eagles car can't get inside on the 5. We got an Eagles fan and I think a Vikings fan battling for third. That makes things interesting for sure. NFC teams. That's their best race on track. Also have a race happening for the 10th spot as Canellis and Landis are side by side at turn 3. Canellis able to clear. Landis with company from Mark Gilbert. Remember, Gilbert was involved in that first caution with the 85 of Jake Butcher. Luckily was able to keep it straight. Did come on pit road for fuel only, so I would assume that he made a quick repair change. That's the longer way on Terry Landis. Can he get this 11th spot off of turn 2? And I don't think he can just yet. Tries to clear, which he does. Light though all over Salas for the second position. As this has turned into a good race for 2. Onboard slide job, you see again. He goes middle line and works out well, but the higher you go, a little bit less you're steering and more you're on the power. You can lose some you can use your tires up just a little bit more. Again, more of the grip on the middle side of the track than it is at the bottom, and Light had to catch that. Up the track he went, nearly made contact with that quarter panel of Salas. And so move the 5 car up to second for right now. I tell you what, iRacing at Texas, at New Texas, I think in my opinion, it's a lot more fun than Old Texas. Like, I've raced Indy cars in the past at this version of Texas Motor Speedway. They're some of the most fun I've ever had in iRacing. I finished second, but at times I was throwing crossovers, getting drafts for the race lead. It was so much fun. I didn't want it to end. But even with this race for second, Jake Musso cannot pull away. Eddie and Joe Musso, though, have been able to close in on this race for second. And now you look behind them. Joe, does he ever run on Eddie? He doesn't. Salas not able to clear. Let's check the lap times here at the line. They're probably going to be just about identical. 30:19 Light, 30:21 Salas. Salas up the track entering turn 1. Again, we mentioned no grip there. Really easy to wreck the car if you're really close to a driver. Salas, though, your third biggest mover. He's up 3 spots for the drop of the green flag. Started 5th. He wanted to waste no time in car number 5. Still edges out Light, but I believe Light was faster this time by 100th. And now it starts to become a 3-car race for second with Eddie Musso Jr. Closing in. Another good race behind them. Hollywood Olson, Tim Chapman. That's the race for 8th. Olsen's also up 3 positions. He started in 11th. He's got that USA Lucy Olsen paint scheme. Running pretty well. He's got Cody Graham and Preston Kramer to close in on. They battle it out for 6th. Light, though, just about had a run on Musso for the race lead. Close, cut it down to 900. He may have something. He's up on that spoiler and decides to pull underneath. Good run and return, number 3. The two nearly make contact, but Light touches the apron. Musso lets off. He gives Light the room. New leader at Texas Motor Speedway. It's Bob Light in the 77. And Salas goes up to 2nd. Jake Musso goes from the lead all the way back to 4th. He decides to try and counter back on the 62 as he ride on board with them. And I think Eddie got a little bit loose entering turn 3. And I think he did, but Musso hangs on for right now. So now let's see if Light can open up some distance on Salas. Let's go back to Cody Graham. Trouble, Mark Gilbert. 2nd caution is out, and I think that he has told it on the pit road, which he has, and the hood is gone. We'll need to bank a 5th third to get a new one on, but likely his night is done. And he has taking it to the garage. Show you what happened. Contact with Tim Chapman racing for position. He saves it there, but remember, with the rack and pinion steering, head on, all 4 wheels off the ground, it is tough to hang on to these race cars. Let's watch from another angle. Right there you see the contact. One save does it, but he tried everything. Bam! Going to take you on board here with the driver of the 017. Look how high it got off the ground. So pit stops underway. Some drivers deciding to come in. Salas wins the race off pit road. That is fuel only, if not 2 tires. I would assume that is a fuel stop. Bob Light's 2nd. He takes a set of tires. Cody Graham did 2 tires. Colin Johnson fuel only. Preston Cranmer 4 tires. So on lap 18, our 2nd caution. Could make things interesting. 6 drivers stay out. Musso's 1, 2, 3. Eddie, Jacob, Joe. John Krupa 4th. Jake Butcher in 5th. Gonna step aside briefly here. Mute the mic. And I'll come back on when we are 1 to green here. So stay with us. So we are ready to come back to the green flag. With the Mussos 1, 2, 3, Eddie, Jacob, Joe, John Krupa 4th, Jake Butcher in 5th. He pitted on lap number 3 for a quick repair. In 6th is, I believe it's Jim Bowie in the 058, which it is. Isaac Salas, first one on fresh tires in 7th. That's fuel only, though, actually, correction. Bob Light on 4 tires. He is 8th. Cullen Johnson on fuel only 9th. Cody Graham on 2 tires is 10th. We take a look from our Chapman Racing drone. So we get set to come back to the green flag. Barney's got the green flag in hand. We are ready to go. Nice restart for Eddie Musso Jr. Jake Musso sends it on the middle groove in the center of 1 and 2 as he goes for the race lead. Nearly 3 wide behind them. Oh! Eddie and Jacob bang wheels, not what you want. Joe hangs in there for right now. Does Joe possibly take it 3 wide? He does. But he decides to let back just a bit. Didn't really like what he saw going into turn number 1. Didn't want to cause a wreck with his teammates and family. Krupa in 4th. Salas has made the charge back up to 5th, and he wants 4th from the Laker. And for the lead, Eddie low on Jacob, the 62 to the point for the first time today. Now, I don't know if he led the lap of the line. Obviously, in NASCAR, scoring comes to where you are at the moment of caution. As everyone all nose to tail, Krupa peaks low on Salas. 05's got to draft off the 63 to help him out. So Salas hangs on to 4th for right now. Back to Jake Musso as he still tries to find a way to get this race lead away. Back on board here with Eddie. As you see, Jake tries to look low, but it's just too late for him to try and pull up side by side with them. Take you on board for a lap here with Salas in the number 5. Get you a nice angle here. Pop up the dashboard and the draft up to 183 miles an hour. His top speed. But when he goes into turn number 1, he's got a hell of a speed. Caution though, waves, 3rd time today. And it is for Joe Canellis, and I believe Cullen Johnston. There's Canellis, who is spun in turn 4. Take a look and see what happened. Cranmer's on Canellis' inside. Oh, he caught the apron. Slid right up into Canellis. A good save. Nope, never mind. Cranmer caught the wall. And who was that in the wall there? I think that may have been Tim Chapman, and if not, maybe Terry Landis or so. I do not know. Here's a look in real time. Right there, that one simple touch. That's what makes Texas dangerous. You just never know what's going to happen. And let's take a ride on board there with Joe Dirt. Let's go to Cullen Johnston. I just want to see if he actually went through the grass here. Yeah, he did. Just briefly, so he's good to go. A lot of drivers come in. Top 5 decide to stay out. Cranmer takes field only. Everyone on back decides to go 4 tires on lap 26. 50 laps to go. Top 5 drivers stay out. It's Butcher who spun on the first caution, leading, followed by Graham, Light, Johnston, and Landis. We'll stay with us here. I'm going to put the mic back on mute once again. So ready to come back to the green flag once again. Another Mission 22 restart. This time it's Cody Graham and Jake Butcher. Butcher the leader, row 1. Row 2, Bob Light and Cullen Johnston. Row number 3, Terry Landis and Preston Cranmer. Row 4, Jacob and Eddie Musso Jr. And round out the top 10, it's Joe Musso and Isaac Salas. Ready for this restart with just under 50 laps to go. You can tell as well, Mark Gilbert officially out of the race. Everyone else still on the lead lap. Nice restart by Cody Graham. Light still in third. Preston Cranmer, Jake Musso, battle for 6th, the ones on the fresher tires. Canellis loose off at turn 2. He luckily is able to hang on to it. Landis and Johnson for 4th spot. Landis, your biggest mover of the race, from 16th to the 4th position. It's able to hold on for right now, but just about 3 wide. Cranmer making moves on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Now looks for that draft off the Eagles ride. Well, folks, we may have a race for the lead developing between Butcher and Graham. Here comes the points leader. In the cup trail, all over the spoiler of Butcher. Looks underneath for the lead. Remember, Graham, 14 laps of fresher tires, but struggled in the center of 1 and 2. Again, not a lot of grip on the bottom there entering turn 1. But in turn 3, there's some pretty good grip. And Cody Graham puts the 2 back out to the front. A good clear on Butcher. The Mussos have closed in on Cullen Johnson. In fact, new quickest lap in that fresh tire bunch. Isaac Salas runs a 29.92. Leaders running 31s to 33s. In case you're wondering what they're running, and again the Mussos nearly touched. Salas with a big run on the 61. And so the HendrickCars.com McLaren ride to 7th. And now Terry Landis, this time on scuffs. A 29.90 with the quickest lap of the day. And he's in that tow of Jake Butcher, who has now fallen back to 3rd. Bob Light just moved up to the 2nd position. On board Butcher as he looks to rebound. Musso now takes away fifth on Cullen Johnston. Roland Olson now the quickest driver on track at a 29.85. He's in that pink number 3, and he's actually using the Larson line to make his way around the track. High side 1 and 2, and it seems like the low line in 3 and 4. No, he's still working the high side. That's paying off for him, but when he has quicker laps like that, he is using up his tires, and Tim Chapman just slammed the door right in his face. So good laps by Hollywood at the moment. Again, Eddie Musso Jr. made his way past. Oh, Salas to the wall. There was contact with Johnston. Everybody scatters, but Salas loses his spot. Olsen has to go through the track. But what does the damage look like on the 5? That's the big question. Tim Chapman up on the wall. I don't really see anything too much, so I think Salas is good. But what about the 13 of Cullen Johnson? He has lost a ton of time. He hit that pretty good. He may have used up his tires too at the same time. He is all the way down to 12th. Musso Jr. looks to pick off Butcher for 4th. So the Eagles car up to 4th, and now all over Landis for 3rd as Landis let off way earlier than Eddie Musso Jr. expected. So the 62 fastest car on the racetrack, 30.23. Top 3 still hanging in there with some pretty good laps. Olsen now in that middle groove off the pace. He nearly loses it. And Tim Chapman, now that is a pass in the grass, and I think what looks like a Dale Earnhardt paint scheme. It's got the Grid Runch logo on the doors. Take that, senior. That's how you do a pass in the grass. And Chapman nearly lose off of turn 2. But how about that? Tim Chapman actually made a pass in the grass. Roland Olson, Joe Musso for 9th. And Musso, who also put on lap 25, is one of the faster drivers here. Not recovered well since taking the green flag on this restart. Let's go further up front. Salas trying to rebound. This is for 6th on Butcher. And Butcher in the wall. He spanked it pretty good. Kramer should make this look easy for 7th, which he does. Now Salas after hitting the wall. He did lose some time with the contact with the wall. 8/10 back on the 61. Just have to see how he is. He doesn't have the toe like Jake Musso does. So we'll just have to see. Can he save his tires better than the Mussos if we get a long run going? On board with Jake Musso is Eddie Musso, still all over Landis for 3rd. Bob Light, though, has caught Cody Graham for the race late. Here's a look at the time delta in these past few laps. It stayed consistent, though. So Graham running some pretty good laps. But Light wants to force him into making a mistake. Salas sideways off at turn 2. That draft is helping out the 77 for just a bit. So 41 laps are complete. 14 drivers are on the lead lap. Jake Butcher has brought the 85 onto pit road, and Mark Gilbert is out of the race. So as we have the race for the lead taking place right now, I'm going to have you turn up the volume and we're going to crank it up here at Texas. .30 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Cody Graham bobbled in turn 3. Bob Light found the hole. Here we go for the lead, and it's a 4-car race. Eddie and Jake Musso now over the top 2. I mean, I know we've got 30 laps to go, but the cream is rising to the top early. Hang on there, Eddie Musso. 3 wide for second. Nearly makes contact with his teammate. Don't know if they realize they're all teammates. If they're all teammates, they shouldn't be racing each other this hard. They should be trying to find a way to catch Bob Light, who has already gained half second on the 61. And Isaac Salas back on the Mussos and Graham. Well, I don't know how everyone escaped danger there, that's for sure. Now we'll see what Eddie Musso Jr. can do on Cody Graham. As I was about to mention, 30 laps ago, we talked about the fuel window being just about 33 laps. Here's a look at the pit strategy all the drivers are on. As they are all working, most of them, lap 23, if not 31 on this strategy. So expect Light and Graham to come in, and same with Landis in a couple laps from now. Everyone in just about 8 laps. But if you want to go for tires now and expect this race to go long run to the end, maybe a good idea, maybe a good time to take some tires to come in for fuel. And again, the window is open if anybody wants to come in with 26 to go. Landis is the first one on pit road. We will watch his pit stop. 45 miles an hour pit road speed. Makes it into his box right there. 4 tires and fuel. I don't know who is on the right side. It looks like compilation of scary Halloween decorations. I see Michael Myers. I see... I'm trying to think who the masked guy is. Can't... The chainsaw guy. All right, no, I'm sorry. My Halloween stuff is wrong. I've seen this on Family Guy before, darn it. Michael Myers. Ghostface is on there. Jason Voorhees, that's who it is. I don't know why it didn't come to me immediately, but Cody Graham, Roland Olsen both in for their final pit stops. Graham is out. Olsen's also out. No one being held longer for being penalized on pit road. Let's see if this brings a plethora of drivers into the pits. Best race on track is for the lead. Musso has closed in pretty well on the 77 of Bob Light. In fact, when you take a look at the gaps, Light's been slower by a tenth these last couple of laps. So Musso is in striking distance here, especially being in that draft. Bob Light's in. We'll pull up a map of where your favorite drivers are on track. Salas locks them up into pit road. Did he speed on pit entry though? Good entries by both. Salas uses his quick repair on the right side. So was able to hang on luckily. Wants his car to be in 100% shape now going the distance. Tim Chapman, John Krupa also on pit road. So I don't think that was a Dale Earnhardt car, but I know it has the GM Goodwrench logos on the side of it. Mussos are in, Eddie and Joe. And I'm interested in seeing where the drivers all end up. Bob is past Tim Chapman. 77, I believe, is in turn number 1 as things stand. And so both of them are in. Bob Light in turn number 3 right now. That's Cody Graham in front of him. So the two was able to get the lead back by short pitting on lap 50. So 3 laps of tire wear separate them. I believe Light just passed Landis for is now 6. What could be second by the time the drivers exit pit road. And longer stops for Eddie Isaac and Joe Musso. They're in 8th through 10th, respectively. Salas, in fact, passed the 62. So now we wait on when the 61 of Jake Musso comes in with 18 to go. Will he go long ground, try and get a caution for fresh tires? Here he comes. Canellis and Bowie also on pit road. Easy in for Jake. Preston Cranmer also on pit road. Cody Graham in turn 3. So let's watch the pit exit closely. Left sides are on for Jake Musso. Leaders are off turn number 4. Do you see them in the background? Crossing the line. Can't really there. They're in on their way to turn number 1. Just had Bob Light put down the new quickest lap of the day at a 29.83. He knows it's time to go to work. And so now let's see if 8 laps of fresher tires pays off for Jake Musso. And car number 61. So again, Cody Graham the leader, Bob Light second, Terry Landis in third. Jake Musso 4th, Isaac Salas 5th, Eddie Musso Jr. 6th, Preston Cranmer 7th, Roland Olson is 8th, Colin Johnson 9th, Joe Musso 10th, Tim Chapman 11th, John Krupa 12th, Joe Canellis 13th, Jim Bowie 14th. 2 drivers out of the race. Actually, Jake Butcher on track a lap down. 1 driver out of the race. That is Mark Gilbert. Cranmer and Olsen for 7th. Remember, Cranmer has the fresher tires. Don't know if they are up to temp yet, up to pressure. Olsen again, he has been very good on that high side today. And even up in the dust, blows past Preston Cranmer for the 7th spot. And Hollywood has run well in the second groove. Joe Musso on fresher tires past Colin Johnson. 13 car able to repair the damage off his right side. New quickest lap of the day, and it's from the man with the fastest tires. Jake Musso, better by 0.2 last time by on Cody Graham. 3.1 seconds behind the race leader. Can't even see him right now at the moment, so he's just focused on hitting his marks. Back up front for the race lead. Remember the last time the drivers were 1 and 2. Graham made a mistake. Light went underneath, but Light has a run off turn 2. Had the slipstream for just a moment, but decides not to go for the lead. Good race that could go the distance. Cranmer and Joe Musso for 8th. And Cranmer, man, that car is just tight on corner entry. He has got nothing despite pitting on lap 58. Don't know if he made a big adjustment. It's just not working out. Chapman, meanwhile, behind him, low on Johnston. A 37 up to 10th. Johnston was the first to pit on lap 44. Your top 2 as well have been able to pull away from Terry Landis, and now Landis, who pitted on lap 49, starts to fade, and he may have a piece of Jake Musso in just a bit for the 3rd position. There you see the delta, 0.8 of a second. And you see that gap is closed down piece by piece. Right on board here with car number 77 for this lap. For this and next lap. On the low side, just following the lines of Cody Graham, making sure that 2 car does not make a mistake. Let's remember as well, these are your first 2 winners on the year in fall competition. Light with a run on Graham again. Cody Graham looking for win 4 on the year. A win for Bob Light would be win 2 in Next Gen Comp. 8 to go. Right now, if you're Cody Graham, here's what you're looking at right now. I mean, this is from the passenger side. There's one thing you don't see on that screen. That, of course, is that rear view mirror. You're not even taking a peek at it. You're not even looking at your gaps, your deltas. You're just focused on hitting your marks. Obviously, Cody knows that Bob Light is behind him. Just can't look at the rear view mirror. Just has to focus on his corner entries and exits. But a better exit for Bob Light. Here he comes. Goodyear to Goodyear into turn 3. Light sends it underneath. New leader, the 77 to the point. Six to go. To have 3 laps of fresher tires coming at the right time. Graham, a shallow entry into turn 1. Up the track he goes. It doesn't work out well. And Bob Light picked up a lot. But don't look now. Look who else is in the picture. That's 61 of Jake Musso. A second behind Bob Light. Cody will probably let him go. So the GKM team, that's the Graham Krupa Musso team, they still have one last bullet in their rifle, and they could use it on the final lap with this 61. That gap down to 0.6 of a second. Last time by, Musso was better by 2/10, so he is closing at the right time. If I'm Cody, let him go. And there's the runoff at turn 4 for Jake. Up to second with 4 laps to go, and Light has lap traffic to deal with. And here's the time delta between the top two. 5 laps ago, it was 1.9 seconds. It's 0.6 of a second. Cody has that car. He is reeling him in. Right place, right time. Just look how smooth he is in 3 and 4, and Light bobbled on corner exit just briefly. And he has closed it. It's now 3.5 tenths with 3 to go. Better by 4 tenths that last lap. Jake's got something for Bob. Does he make the move into turn 3? He's got time. Nearly gets to the bumper of the 77. But again, Jake Musso has time. Doesn't have to make the pass here. Jake Butcher brings the 85 of the pits with 2 to go. Again, 2/10 better was Musso. He decides to go the higher route. Musso in turn number 2. Top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. He gets loose off the corner. He turns Bob Light. They're both in the wall. They both save it. Musso goes to the lead. Cody Graham and the caution flies with 3 to go. Oh my goodness. And Bob Light will not be happy at that 61. And now the question is, what's the damage on your front row when we come back to green? I don't know. Let's see here. The 61, that's some good right side damage. Checking on Light in turn 2, and he also had some pretty good right side damage. Let's watch that again. We're going to go for the aerial shot, unless anyone decides to come in this time. You know, I wonder what Roger Craig is thinking now that this happened. He is probably thinking, thank you for coming out to broadcast this, Marty. Just messing around with Roger. Okay, here it is, aerial shot. 61. We got to rewind that just a little bit further. Couple of drivers are in the pits. So Musso a run through turn 2. Just trying to pinch the 77 low, I think. They slightly made contact. It looks like Jake has it saved right here. But then again, he tries to catch it. Catches the 77 of Bob Light. They both get together. Light goes around in the wall. Somehow, they both stay top 2. The caution flag came out there, and Musso was scored as the leader. Let's get you a couple onboards here. We're going to go Bob Light first. That's in slow motion. And definitely some right side damage. And how about for... rewind that just a bit. How about for Jake Musso? Look at all the handfuls he had. And I think from that shot alone, you just look at the impacts there. Jake Musso may have gone away with less damage than the 77. Jake Musso as well, racing for a playoff spot. We are in the round of 12. Lights still remain on the Steve King Foundation pace car. Now top 7 did stay out. First driver on tires is Cullen Johnston in 10th. Everyone else further back decided to take field only in case we have a second overtime attempt. Lights should go out this time. Alrighty. So doubled up for this restart. The front row has damage. And probably has, amongst the top 7, the best tires. Cody Graham 3rd, Terry Landis 4th, Isaac Salas 5th, Joe Musso 6th, Eddie Musso 7th, John Krupa 8th, 9th is Roland Olson. That's the first driver on Ford tires. Nope, excuse me. 9th is Roland Olson, Cullen Johnston 10th, the first one on freshest tires. Again, first of 2 attempts here at overtime. If we get a caution flag before the white, we'll try it one more time. If we do get to the white flag, there will be no more yellows, and we head straight to the checkers. This is about to be a heck of a finish here as the drivers come off for turn number 4. We'll decide who wins this one. Bad restart from Bob Light. Great jump from Musso. Graham to 2nd. Salas looks for the 3rd spot on the 77. Now let's see what happens off turn 2. Top 3 all on the outside. Salas looks for the draft off the 61. And Light still trying to hang on for a podium spot, but the field comes off at turn number 4. White's in the air, Light's in the wall. 1 lap to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Olsen sideways. He saves it for now. We stay green. But it's the 61 out in front. That is driven by Jake Musso. 3 wide for 2nd further back. Decided to pit late. Took fresher tires. Raced Bob Light for the lead. A little bit controversial, but he got away with it and makes his way through 3 and 4. Checkered flag is out. The driver of the 61, Jake Musso, is the 3rd different winner of the fall this year. So a nice win for him. Salas 2nd. Joe Musso 3rd, and Jake Musso is in to the round of 8. For those wondering where Bob Light finished, he came across the line in 12th. Not too sure what happened at the end, but it was a wild race to the end. I tell you what, we're going to watch that final lap one more time, and we're going to watch it from Solace's perspective. The top three posing for a shot. All right, so we're watching this from a TV1 perspective. So we saw Olsen get loose. Somebody caught the wall pretty hard. It was the 5 of Krupa. Just got really tight up in the wall. I think he even lost the hood, if not the right front. So his car bounces off the wall there. And then Bob Light, who's just hanging on. Did he run out of gas? He ran out of fuel in the 77. And that's when calamity began. So Light did not measure the fuel right from the looks of it. But Jake Musso giving the fans a smoke show. And we are, while he is doing that, we're going to talk to Joe Musso, finishing third. Joe, a nice day for the Musso and Graham clan. A nice podium for you. Walk us through your day.
Yeah, Texas isn't my favorite track. I hate this place, so I kind of lucked into a podium here. But yeah, I just stuck with it and just rode my own race, and all the cautions fell where we needed them. Thought I screwed myself with the pit strategy, but that last caution really saved me. So I just gave it all she had those last 2 laps, put them all on the dash, and got third.
Do you feel like you may have had something for either Jake or Bob, considering the damage they had to bring out the final yellow?
No, that last restart, I burned my tires up just trying to get it to plant. Everybody went up high. It looked like a big wave going into one. So, yeah, that definitely killed my right front. And I learned that coming back on the last lap. I learned that going into turn 1. So I don't think I had anything for him. I was definitely a mid-pack car at best. I just really lucked into this one.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
I'd like to thank GKM boys. Eddie for not killing me on that last lap. I threw a dirty block on him for points, but yeah, those guys, Fast Eddie's Hot Rods, Main Street Auto, you for a great broadcast, and Coast to Coast for a great league.
Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight, and talk to you next week.
Thank you. See you later.
Joe Musso, our third-place finisher. Let's go to our second-place finisher tonight in Isaac Salas. Isaac, first off, I got to tell you, I love this scheme. It's giving me Indy 500 vibes.
Well, I'm glad, because that's what she's inspired by, man.
I love it. I love it. So, walk us through your day. You looked really fast early and midway through the race.
Actually, I felt not too shabby on asphalt for once, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, I don't really. I told myself that I really had to start backing up my corners once the tires went away, and I actually found a line that I really enjoyed running and that I could kind of hit pretty consistently. And from there on out, man, I could halfway keep up with the top 5, and that was my goal. Just kind of stay with those guys.
Well, why? How come, from your perspective, the middle line, the high side, that was the place to be all night? Normally, when I think of Texas, I think of a one groove low line track.
Yeah, I just found I could roll it pretty easy, and I didn't kill my tires as fast. Kind of being in that middle line. What I was really doing is I was just kind of letting her coast to about mid corner, then finally picking the throttle back up. It kind of reminded me when Kevin Harvick used to dominate Texas. So that was kind of what I inspired it by, and yeah, it kind of worked in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. If you just were patient, you could finally come in full throttle.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Yeah, big shout out to all those guys over at Venom Racing. Literally, Butch isn't even around tonight, and I'm getting messages from him, and he's watching the broadcast, cheering me on. So thanks to all those guys. Thanks to Dean and the Super Dirt Car Series, Magnum Race Designs, Got Your 6 Racing Network, RSN Trackside. I am using my RSN Trackside koozie tonight. I think that's where the good luck came from, to be honest. I podiumed all 3. Coast to Coast, everybody that's in here, everyone that runs it, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of hours that go in here, so it's fun. Everything that Mission 22 does for our veterans, man. Thank you for broadcasting, Marty. I always love hearing your voice. It's always good to catch up with you. My Gramps, Top Notch Trucking, and then just like thanks to my friends, my family, and congratulations to Jacob.
Well, we'll let you go. Great job tonight, and talk to you next Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Isaac Salas, our second place finisher. Now we go to victory lane to talk with your winner, the 61 of Jake Musso. Jake, a great win. Congratulations on it. You were the best car in the final laps, but I do want to ask you on the situation with Bob Light. Walk us through your perspective off turn 2. Looked like you got loose.
Yeah, it all started in 3 and 4 on the previous lap. I went to go low, and he blocked me a little bit. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll have to pass him on the high side, but I haven't been there all night, and I didn't know what to expect when I went up there. And I think I gassed it up a little too early on the high side on the seam, and it actually broke loose when I entered the corner, and I was kind of like drifting it in, and it just snapped loose on exit, and I thought I had it saved, and then I went and gave it more throttle and put the gas to the floor, and it snapped again, and I thought maybe I had enough room, but we were just like, I was coming down because I was so loose, and I got into Bob, and I was apologizing. I feel like an absolute idiot for that because I know I ruined his race, and that was just dumb. I wish I was able to save it, but I just don't have that much skill there.
However, though, you did play strategy, going as long as you could for the freshest tires on that long run to the end. What point did you feel like that you had a chance at this win?
As soon as I came off at pit road, I almost spun out come off pit road, but I seen that I was only 4.5 seconds back, and I knew that I could sprint for the remaining, I think it was like 20 laps maybe, 15 laps, something like that. I know I could sprint those laps and put in qualifying laps every single time, and I think I was putting like 29.9s in, and consistently, and I think that's what really brought me in. And I was like, all right, it was like 5 to go, and I just picked off third place. I'm like, all right, I can get these two, and I was there in 2 laps, and I was there and made that stupid mistake, but still got the dub.
Well, next week we have a good one coming up at Talladega. What do you think about that?
If I can get my drafting partners to help me, I think we got a good shot. I think we got a couple of GKM cars that could definitely be out front and win the thing. I think all the GKM cars could win that thing. Just got to stick together and get a good pit strategy going there.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
All the boys at GKM Racing. You guys for a great broadcast, or you, Marty. Broadcasts are always great. And then Coast to Coast for a great league.
We'll let you go, man. Congratulations. A great win tonight.
Thank you.
Jake Musso, your winner in Extreme eSpeed TV Victory Lane. Should mention our hard charger was Colin Johnston, up 8 spots to finish 6th, so a good strategy to go with 4 tires in the end. Here's a look at your results here from tonight. Musso, the winner, Salas 2nd, Joe Musso 3rd, Eddie Musso 4th, Cody Graham 5th, Colin Johnston 6th, Roland Olson 7th, Joe Canellis 8th, Jim Bowie 9th, Preston Cranmer rounds out the top 10. Look at the rest of the field. Obviously, the heartbreak to Bob Light. Terry Landis was also fast in the race, too. I believe he ran out of fuel late in the going. So that'll do it here for us. Week 3 is in the books. We will talk to you next week for week number 4. On behalf of everyone with the Coast to Coast Racing League, Roger Craig, Preston Cranmer, all the fine drivers and sponsors, Marty Scala signing off. Jacob Musso, your winner here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. So long, everyone.